So let me go through the basic context. Essentially, a few years ago, Joss Whedon was asked by Warner Brothers to take over Justice League due to Zack losing his daughter through suicide. And to put it mildly, he had a lot of issues with the cast and how he wanted to change the direction of the movie. And afterwards, many revelations came out about Joss and allegations of abuse by Charisma Carpenter and others, including Ray Fisher. And for a long time, we didn't know what he officially said in response. But this article finally gives an official response to these charges. And there's a lot going on in this article. I'm only going to concentrate on a few, I think, of the most relevant things, and we'll get into more of them as we go on. So perhaps probably the biggest or strongest charges are Gal Gadot saying that Joss Whedon threatened her, and Ray Fisher charging racism as well as abuse. So let's deal with Gal Gadot first. So the way Joss tells it, he did try to respectfully talk to her. He didn't threaten her, but he did want to change a few things. She disagreed, she didn't like his approach, and she took it as an offense and as abusive. He says she just doesn't understand English. English is not her first language, and he often speaks with these double entendres. He uses a very complex way of speaking, and that she just misunderstood him. Gal Gadot responded that she understood just fine. She doesn't like him. She doesn't want to work with him, and she recommends nobody work with him ever again. So pretty clear, polarizing reactions to this. Now, in terms of Ray Fisher, this is a little bit more complex. So Whedon is really saying two things. One is he didn't think the Cyborg story made any sense at all within the larger context of Justice League, so he wanted to diminish the Cyborg story. On top of this, he didn't think Ray Fisher is a good actor, period. So he didn't think he was a good actor, and he thought Ray was acting maliciously towards him. Ray Fisher, for his part, thinks that Joss Whedon was intentionally racist and intentionally abusive. I think with the abusive charge, and again, we can call it other things. Maybe Whedon was being just a jerk, he was being too harsh, he was being insensitive, but you could charge abuse. And I think, having seen the Snyder Cut, it's really hard to believe he honestly thinks Ray Fisher can't act, that the Cyborg story was a minor part of Justice League. There's a lot of plots going on in Justice League, but the Cyborg plot is pretty critical to a lot of the film. So it's unclear why Joss Whedon thinks this. Now, in terms of Ray Fisher having bad motives, I don't think that's the case. Now, I don't believe him in terms of the racism charge. Joss has worked with a lot of black actors. He's worked with a lot of non-white actors. Even some black actors on Justice League, they report having no issue with Joss. So the charge of racism is perhaps a little too strong, or it could be based on misunderstanding. But Joss is going further and thinks there may be a conspiracy at work. Now, he directly does not say there is a conspiracy. This is apparently just people that the reporter interviewed. They suspect that Ray and Zack collaborated together to defame Joss. There is no evidence for this, and neither Ray nor Zack really helped with the story. So again, it's unclear where things stand. Ray has denied speaking with Zack in a couple years, and Zack did not comment on the article. So again, we don't know. I think this is highly unlikely, but Joss does feel like they manufactured a lot of these charges to make sure that his reputation suffered, and in order to get revenge for what he wanted to do with Justice League. So those are some of the more main components of the article. The article does go through a lot in terms of Buffy, Angel, Firefly. It gives a lot of pro and con. It gives people who had issues with Joss. Some of them do charge abuse. Some of them just say he was a jerk. Some of them think it was fine. It was just his management style. So there's a diversity of opinion. I wouldn't call this overly pro Zack Snyder, however. They actually make a few swipes and attacks at Zack's expense. So overall, I do think this is meant to be a pro-Whedon article, but I gotta be honest, he actually comes off badly in this because, again, the way he words things, and it seems he's extremely arrogant. He does admit he made a lot of mistakes. He's very flawed. He should have done different decisions. He does put the burden onto the cast of Justice League. He thinks the cast was very rude, and he thinks Gal Gadot and Ray Fisher in particular were just being disrespectful to him. So he's sort of turning the tables on the charges. So we'll get more and more into the article, but that's probably the main heart of it that's going to be the most controversial, and it's going to be the most contested in the weeks and probably years ahead. And there we are with the initial response to Joss's official denial of abuse on Justice League. Thanks for listening.